Hi. Today I want to talk about the self. The self regarding you, the watcher, and me, the presenter, and how we're negotiating this interaction. The interaction would be very different if we were in the same room, but I think there really is an interaction, and it's a kind of negotiation that you're having in your mind right now, having listened to my little introduction and trying to figure out, looking at me, listening to my voice, the way I talk. Do I want to watch this video? Does this person have enough credibility in my life to say something that I might find interesting? And me, on my end, my negotiation process is more of, I'm talking to one person, that's you, because I'm looking right at the camera and you're looking right back into the screen. We have eye contact. It's like talking to another person. But I'm also broadcasting this to anyone who will listen. So how do I gauge my communication to appeal to both situations? And already this combination of appearance and choice of words and manner has filtered out a bunch of people who don't want to have anything to do with me. So I can't help that. Hopefully during the course of this talk, the people who are remaining will gain some insight to their selves and how they interact with the world, both on screen and in person. So it's a hefty talk, but I'm going to use a book as a structure to frame it. And the book is by Dorothy Skeel. It was written back in the 70s, I think it was 78. And it's called Self. And here it is. And here's the back. As you can see, it's a children's book. It's actually a social studies book for primary school. From what I can see, it's for first graders. So, but I picked it up somewhere and thought, this is profound information. Why didn't I get this when I was in first grade? So I'm going to share it with you. And I know this book has been published by someone else. It's owned by someone else. So if I read it out loud, page by page, into this camera and publish it myself, I'm violating their publication rights. And that's not right. I mean, it's not just. So how do I do it? How do I share a book that I want you to read without sharing it? I don't know. I'm just gonna video me flipping through the book, and if the publishers of the book have a real problem with me doing that, then they'll shut this video down and you'll never see it. So I'm going to turn the camera down and we're going to look through the book. One of my favorite parts of having a school book is this stamp here. This one hasn't been owned by anybody, or either that or it's been in the library and just lots of people have checked it out. But I remember when I was a kid, I could see the names of the people who it had been issued to before, and I would put my name there. And sometimes it had been issued to so many kids that there was a manila piece of paper that was glued on top of this to supplement it. And I think this is really new, because mine were all beat up, and even this edge was almost like a fabric, like felt. It was so worn. So I won't go through the whole book, but I do want to mention Dorothy Skeel. And it's really interesting to see. I mean, these are all kids that they hired, or, maybe they didn't hire them, but they commissioned them to act for this book. And maybe some of these are playground scenes. Hi, it's me again. I'm going to pop up here in the corner every once in a while and add commentary to spots where it appears that I've been thinking thoughts but not speaking them, or that I've wandered off on a tangent that doesn't relate to my theme. So, just as an overview, Chapter 1 is what is a group? Chapter 2 is how do we communicate? Chapter 3 is what is our environment? Chapter 4 is where do people live? Chapter 5 is how do people meet their needs? And Chapter 6 is how do things change? And as I looked over just this table of contents, these are the questions that we have to ask ourselves. I can't think of any other pertinent questions on how to get along, how to find yourself in society, and how to find yourself, really, because we're all part of a group. So you'll find that much of this is silent, but there are sections where there's little poems. Let me grow as I be, and try to understand why I want to grow like me, not like my mom wants me to be, nor like my dad hopes I'll be, or my teacher thinks I should be. Please try to understand and help me grow, just like me. Those two girls are fighting. Look, he tried to grab that cup, and the other cup started to fall. And he should know that that's going to be okay, because that's one of those plastic Tupperware cups. Look, there's Tupperware. Look, there's Tupperware all over the place. This really was from '78. Now, are they trying to read? Are they learning how to read? These look like spelling books. So this is the teacher, and this is the kids bringing that home to the family as dinner's getting ready. Is this the same girl? Is that the same girl? Yeah, that's the same outfit. That might be the same girl. So the question is, what is a group? It's got to be terrifying for kids to look at that. People who don't live in a city might be intimidated by that picture. There's so many people. Everybody's doing something different. They're all strangers to you. As opposed to this. This is obviously something the parents are doing with the kid. Or maybe that's an older kid. Now this, I've been flipping through. This is a theme that will reemerge throughout the book. One kid says, "Put your hands on your head," and the other kids put their hands on their head. And they're the only ones in the playground. just reading them a book. Isn't this interesting? There's no verbal commentary. It's just pictures of people in groups. All the different kinds of groups that kids get into. You know, honestly, as an adult, I'm not in that many groups anymore. Just one group at work. But all those kids, I remember I went to YMCA and I swam with a different group of kids, and then was at school with, and then church was different, and obviously the kids who lived in my neighborhood were different kids. Most of them went to the same school. Here's another one. Put your hands on your head. That one really touches my heart. That little kid really wants to be a big kid, to get some water one day. And that one, why is she sad? These are the questions that you ask the kids when you're flipping through. This is still in the group chapter, but it's called the skill page. So, talking to kids about why another person is sad. It's a skill. Emotional awareness. You know, I mean, we're aware of other people's emotions naturally, but talking about it is a skill. I know adults who don't have that skill. Okay, chapter review. What have you learned? Is this a group? Is this a group? I would say that is a group of human beings, much as like you'd see like a group of cows. But are they unified? What are they unified by? We're going to assume that these kids play with each other, but maybe they're all strangers at a public park. So they're kind of in the same situation as those adults walking across the street. They gotta figure out how to get from one place to another and not get hurt by other people, the people in the cars and the people in the trucks. This is a really interesting picture. It's so many layers. Look at those people walking up there, walking down there. The cars going back and forth. That is a busy, busy picture. So what does a leader do? And what do the members do? I know some leaders who I know 3 or 4 people who are designated leaders, and each of them would have a different answer for that question. It's a significant question. What is a leader? What does that mean to you? Is it something that you can just train for? Like learn and memorize phrases to use in certain situations to guide people? Or learn nonverbal strategies to influence them? Or just like memorize a method for communicating rules that, you know, you learn the rules and then you learn the way to communicate the rules so that people come to you for guidance on how to follow the rules. Is that leadership? It's sort of the same question as what is it to be a teacher? I mean, fundamentally, we have to teach ourselves and lead ourselves. We have to use our self-reflection to know what strategies we respond to in order to move ourselves forward. You're a member of a group, but you're working alone. Okay, I'll speed through the communication. Oh, look at him. Oh no, his kite's in a tree. Look at that face. Oh, look, they're closed Tuesday. You know why they're closed Tuesday? Because they're open on the weekends. It's got to have one day off. How do these communicate? How do these help us communicate? How do you communicate with your eyes? This reminds me, I recently tried to do a Zoom class, and turns out the whole time it was just me. It was a Zoom tutorial, and the guy on the other end never told me that my camera didn't work. The whole time I was nodding, and I'd look at him. I mean, you communicate like visually. You don't always say yes, I agree with you. Sometimes you just nod, and when there's a camera on you, you assume the other person's like looking at you and nodding. But the whole time, this guy, I thought he was kind of odd. Anyway, he was not. He would like demanded that I respond verbally. I'm like, come on, chill out, man. And then at the end, he's like, maybe next time your camera will work. I'm like, what? What? My eyes were doing the talking. You really can't tell when someone's not listening to you, or listening but not comprehending certain things, just by looking at the expression in their eyes. And conversely, you communicate who you are unintentionally through your eyes. And people can tell when you're being insincere, when you're trying to communicate a self that isn't authentic. Because it all comes out through the eyes. And other stuff too, obviously. But that's one of the reasons why I don't like video calls, because the eyes are they're looking every other direction but where they should. And even watching videos where people are interviewing each other through Zoom or FaceTime or whatever, it doesn't ever seem authentic, because they're not looking at each other, really. They're not. Some of the best ones I've watched have been the ones where people just throw away that conceit, and they're just responding to the voices, and that's another cue. I don't think that's in this book yet. But the voice is the other way. You can tell if someone's being authentic, and by communicating your authentic self. I talk to myself a lot, because if I verbalize a thought that I listen to and I think that's not right, it's because I can hear myself faking it. Anyway, I'm talking over this section because I'm digressed. Yeah, Telstar. I remember when Telstar came down. Was it Telstar? It was around 79. One of those satellites, one of those communication satellites fell down. I'll flash it on the screen so I can research it afterwards. And I remember watching about that in school. How do you communicate around the world? Well, that's a different answer for those kids. Me, right there in the middle of the country, didn't communicate with people around the world. I accepted communications from other people across the United States, from TV and radio. Casey Kasem's Top 40. Do people in Mexico read like you? How do you communicate with them? Huh? These pages are literally about how people who speak a different language might read that language. But when I was looking at it, my thoughts went to the fact that people who speak the same language as I do have learned to read differently than I did. And people think differently. And you never can tell how your message is going to be received. Use pictures to communicate. draw a picture sentence. I would have loved to do that. I have done that. Yeah. I love maps. This is my Lord of the Rings book, and it's got 2 super cool maps. Look at this. Everything, make people grow up in certain areas and never leave, and other people move all around. What a world. There's another one at the end. I'll pick up that one here. There's this one too. Very detailed map of Gondor, Rohan, and Mordor. This is where it all happened. I really loved the description of Ithilien in the books. It was like the Garden of Middle-earth, right on the other side of Mordor. And this is where what's his name? It was Faramir. Faramir and Éowyn moved to Ithilien after the ring was destroyed. And where did they go? Where'd they go? Eminarden? Did they go to Carandros? They went somewhere. They moved in together. They shacked up. Yeah. So, anyhows, I love maps. How do people live in the mountains? Do you know that? Do you know these are mountains? That I would have said that was the Olympic range, but it looks like Switzerland. People live in many places. This book would broaden the mind of any little kid reading it. Look at all the stuff. Look at where all the people live. They work in the mountains. Look, this guy, he doesn't like go back down the mountain and live in a town. He lives on the mountain, and then he goes to the lumber mill with it and gets in his truck and drives his truck around, carries giant logs. And look, there's a house made of logs. Look, California. How do people live in the desert? Where do they get their water from? What do they do to earn money? Yeah, look at that. You just walk outside your house and it's all dusty. There's no grass. You can't sit in the grass. Play. Look, they have these little roads going between the houses. All of your life would be spent inside those little houses. There's no way you'd enjoy living out there. That's my opinion. I'm sure people enjoy living out there. But not as a first grader, come on. People work in the desert? Wait, what? That's not the desert. Maybe it's an irrigated desert. That looks like a soybean field to me. This is a home in the desert. People work in the desert. I don't know if that's... Yeah, and that's again, this is for adults. Little kids can't get on dune buggies. What is going on out there? They're just running all around barking. That's all they're doing. That's what it's like to live in the city. People lock their dogs outside and the dogs just bark. Write a picture story of Mexico based on what you've learned here. That would be interesting. You would have to do a little more research. These guys are slopping the pigs. That's hard work out there in the farms. It's hard work there in the factories too. What are they doing? What is that? It's a collating machine. It's wrapping things in paper. Are they pencils? What the heck is? Yeah. I've done that job. I mean, not that specific job, but I've done jobs where it was very hypnotic work, and I didn't enjoy it. Ooh, that looks cool. Look, there's an oscilloscope, and there's... What is that? What are these things? They look like glass pipettes, don't they? And there's a picture of somebody. Somebody took a photograph of a bunch of people and stuck it on that measuring device. What work do people do? Yeah, I mean, this is something that people should delve into. Like that deserves more than 2 pages. Yeah, people have wants. They really do. They have needs, like food and clothing and shelter. They have wants, toys, entertainment, and what does that mean? Thrills? Riding a bike is a thrill. What is she doing? Those are crayons. She's making crayons. For goodness sakes, that wasn't in the other picture. Yeah, we didn't see that. They cut off that part. Now we know she's making red crayons. T-shirt shop. There's socks back here. Would you like to be a clerk? Would you? Have you ever wanted to work in a circus? Many people do work in a circus. Have you found a job where you can express yourself? Do you feel like you can be yourself at your job? Or was that even one of the criteria for searching for this job? I mean, because you have to earn money. Is it also equally important to find work in which you can be yourself? Or do you just let go of that expectation for 8 hours or 10 or whatever your shift is, so that at the end of the day you can go home and be yourself? Because in our youth we learn how to fit into society in general. We gather all the information from our primary and secondary schools so that we can interact with the people around us in society. And then as older young adults, we train for careers, supposedly, that we believe at that time fit our personalities. But is that the true self? and this is the question I ask myself, because I don't want to be a groundskeeper and pick up other people's litter. But I did it. I applied for it, and I got it, and I do it every day. These are the questions I ask myself. I don't want to be an astronaut. I don't want to be, what is that? Yeah, she's a graphic designer. I was a graphic designer for a while. I didn't like it. She's a scientist. Might like to be a scientist. I don't want to join the circus, for goodness sakes. You keep shoving this circus business in my face. How do things change? Really? Seriously. Yeah, it's scary to go to a new school. It's scary to go to your old school. It's scary to go to school. I only went to school to see my friends. That's the truth. Look, you take a peanut, you put hair on it, and you make people. And you make people tell the story. Ask about the rules of the school. Yeah, I really didn't like the rules of the school. Actually, I liked the rules of the school, but I didn't feel like they were made for me. Again, these 2 pages about what are other changes that may happen. People change. Another change is when you may feel sad. You miss someone. See, that's just 2 pages about the changes that happen in a kid's life. But so much more happens to kids. Now that we're wrapping it all up. Draw a picture story of your town in the year 2000. Think about stores, homes, travel. That would be a really interesting project. In the year 2000. So 22 years from then. I mean, that's not very long. As an adult, I remember 22 years ago, and things were not any different. Except we didn't have this. I didn't have you to talk to about the world. I mean, I probably did. Not on YouTube, though. There's no such thing as YouTube 22 years ago. So, okay, so that's the end of the book. Maybe I'll clip out the best parts of that, because that was a long trek. I wound up doing that anyway. Should I read this book for you? This is a good book. There's just that one color picture. Isn't that weird? Why? Oh, wait. Runes. We got some runes. Oh, this is the tomb when they get inside Moria. Yeah, and these are leaves from the Book of Mazarbul. Who did this? I don't know who. Tolkien didn't do that. Someone else, maybe he did that. I don't think he did, though. Ooh, here's the family tree of the Brandybucks. And Samwise. And the Tooks. And the Boffins. He did this. He did all of this. Goodness gracious. He loved it. Yeah, he loved doing this stuff. A great author. I like that guy. All right. It's a good ending. Thank you for watching.